Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. This is Charlie Live, and we are live on YouTube. Wow. Let me tell you today, Drake and I have an amazing guest for you. We have Duke Diamond on today, you guys. Super excited, super excited because actually, I bet most of you don't know a lot about this person because a lot of people on my channel are new to cannabis. Some are and some aren't. So we like to start with the beginning stories. So today I have some amazing people on my panel that are going to be helping us with some of the questions today for you, Duke. We have Tardis joining us today. We have Two Dog Seeds and Blessed Coast will be joining us. And of course, my amazing co-host Drake. And I'm going to kind of let Drake kind of lead it today. So first up, let's take a dab. Let's ask Duke what he's puffing on. Hello, Duke.
Hey, how you doing? Good morning.
We're rocking. So what do you got? I see you got something burning up there. What are you puffing down on?
Oh Lord. Well, I'm on probation, so I can't blaze just yet. But yeah, just
some tobacco.
Yeah,
well,
man.
That is bullshit. We're gonna blaze for you then. Are you kidding me? You can't smoke.
No.
Wow.
I mean, I could, but there's always a chance of the old whiz quiz, and then if I pop hot, they probably I don't know, probably catch you like another 10 months back in the joint.
Yeah, no, of course you can't be risking that. In regards, I guess let's just hop right into it.
Federal people need to get real with this. Come on, people should not be spending time for this charges and shit like that. Sorry, but
and in regards
to a loophole, like you could be like go to the doctor, get like a Marinol prescription, so that way you would piss hot, for THC or whatever. But they figured that one out.
No, of course. And then it's a I can kind of understand the entirety of it, but being an activist and advocate, it's just a slap in the face yet again, because it's like, okay, now you can't medicate for this long because we decide that this is a bad thing. So that's just my opinion, though, and my feelings. A lot of others share it. I'm curious, do you use cannabis more in just like the recreational sense? Have you used it as in medicinal purposes? What's your view on the cannabis use in general for yourself?
A little bit of both, because
nice.
I'll get a little weird going in, say like if I had to go to a Walmart, it's super crowded. It's a little bit of an ordeal for me. So I had a few things I would blaze on before I have to do, say, like a trip like that. It's like being around a bunch of people that I don't know in tight quarters. Yep. A little PTSD going on. So I do it for that. Pain relief, or the basic aches, pains, all that good shit. And then definitely for sleep at nighttime, that was a huge one. And then sometimes, if we got like a whole bunch of work to get done, have some speedy sativa shit, that always helps. But yeah, I tend to do it more so on that end. It's kind of purpose driven.
No, and that's awesome. And I mean, those are a lot of things that hit very close home to me myself for why I enjoy it. Of course, there's so many specific cultivars that work great for different circumstances. We won't dwell on it too much because I'm sure you're pretty fed up with the fact that you can't be blazing already. But how ridiculous! And that's just something else that we have to keep fighting for and make a change, because shit happens in life. It's just the way it is. And we don't need to go into it too much further, but to be punished further and not allowed to medicate, I think is a criminal action itself. But nonetheless, let's dip into more pleasant topics. Let's see, what was the first time you ever tried cannabis?
I was 12 years old, and my buddy Kenny, he had an older brother, had some pretty good weed, and we blazed that, and that was a wrap. That was a fucking wrap. I remember I couldn't feel my neck. I felt like a bobblehead and shit. And later it was like, let me take a bath or something. And just hearing that water drip and hitting the water, I was like, whoa, that's awesome. Like, oh shit. So yeah, it was pretty much a wrap right then and there.
pretty infatuated with the experience as a whole, and did you kind of dive in head first from there, or was there a hiatus before your next experience, or you were just like, yes, this is great?
Every chance I got after that point, because just made me feel great. And the way I was brought up is I was working at the same time, like from a pretty young age, so Irish immigrant grandparents, and a dad that was born in 1924 and lived through the Great Depression and all. So it was very work driven, So going to school and working, it was nice to have something to kind of chill you back a little bit, from all the just stress,
Of course,
body aching and body hurt.
Yeah, when you work so hard all day, sometimes it's just like that instant relief. And I was recently having a conversation on the back end, and it's kind of that same correlation that your body gets from when you have like a nice sleep, right? You have that whatever cultivar specific, you have that doobie, your blunt, your bowl, your dab, or your edible, whatever works best for you. And then once it finally hits, it has that feeling like it's a new day, but you've already crushed 10 hours of work. But then you can go there and you can finish that last couple hours in good spirits, and then not feel like just complete garbage at the end of the day, at least personally, being a laborer in the past.
Yeah, man. Because like by the time you you're waking up at 4 a.m., you're knocking out work and stuff by 7 a.m., and then you're going to school all day, and you're getting back around 3:30 to 4 p.m., and then you're working again till 7 at night, 8 at night. It's kind of need a little bit of a break.
Yeah, that's the farming ain't easy, and that's a farmer's life there from dawn till dusk and everything in between.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Summer times are definitely like that, because it was like there was no break to go to school, so it was just all work.
Well, that's cool that your first experience, you felt something, you had a positive experience, and then to the point where you enjoyed it so much you wanted to jump in. That's great. I think it's hilarious that you're trying it with Kenny, because as we all know, weed might have fucked him up, but weed never killed Kenny, and that's awesome, because that's one of our reasons. Cannabis is our medicine. It ain't gonna get you. But nonetheless, now diving forward a little bit more, you've been probably puffing tough for some years now. When was the first time that you started growing plants?
It was that same year.
The same year. That's pretty incredible, I have to say right off the bat. So you're 12, you're like, all right, this is it. Let's get some seeds in the ground. How'd you acquire seeds?
Out of the weed we were getting.
Hey, there you go. And isn't that the story from back in the day? So much that got so many people involved and inspired. Just you get the seed, you think, hell, let's see if I can pop it. That little bean pops, and all of a sudden this plant's growing. You're taking care of this life, and now you're hooked.
Yeah, man. And like that was the thing, because we actually we're talking to each other, because being real young, pain in the ass trying to get some bud. And I mean, I don't care who you were, like if you weren't growing your own then, getting weed was a task. And then if you you were hooked in, I mean, it'd still be a task. But we kind of figured out like, hey, it'd be a lot easier if we just grew this shit. And we both came from like farming families, so like that wasn't an issue. But we maybe it'd be safer to do it that way too, because we weren't like getting out there, people all knowing our business, everything. So like, let's try to do a little growing here. And then I had them like about 2 nodes tall, and then I had like older cousins, because like I said, my dad was like way older, and they saw what I was doing, like, what's this, and I thought I was in like a lot of trouble. And they weren't flipping out about it and stuff. And I was just honest with them, and we're like, all right, well, look, you can help us, like tote water and stuff like that. And they kind of took me under their wing.
No way. That's so cool.
Because they've been growing pretty heavily for some years, all outdoor and shit. So so my school kicked off right at the same time with them. So yeah.
What a cool story. Do you happen to remember what that bag was? Probably not just some random, probably just some generic name or something along those lines. But
yeah, I couldn't tell you exactly what that first shit was. It
Kush.
was yeah, it was pre-Soviet Kush fucking hybrid. Wait, no, I couldn't tell you. It was pretty good though. Like, I mean, like even like my remembering of it, you know, all this time later, like, you know, remember it, you know, it smelled like some pretty good weed. I know it worked. God damn, it worked.
Yeah, clearly it gave you the bug right off the hop. So
yeah.
All right. Well, then, so you've been puffing tough. You've now been getting involved, growing, and getting hands on in a way that many don't have access to for many more years to come. So, how long was it before you were involved in some crossing going on in plant A going to plant B, or even some self-inner? What was the first time you started getting into that?
That was also the very same year, because they had been growing seed that they had ordered from Holland and shit. And you know, it was a it was a pain in the ass. So like people that get seed now, like you don't realize like how good you got it. Because back then you would have had to have you know, gotten a money order. You probably didn't even use your car. You might have walked, you know, around the block with cash to get the money order. Then the post trip, mailing it over, waiting, you know, 2 months to hope that it comes back to you and doesn't get intercepted and hope you don't get busted. So huge pain in the ass. So basically if you didn't want to do that, whatever you did get, you would want to, you know, make more seeds, and that was their deal. Making more. They made some of their own little hybrids and shit like that. It was all like performance driven, like what's doing best in the woods of Virginia, you know. So, but yeah, that same year we were doing a little seed increase on some stuff, so I got to see it all go down same year.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, what a year, I would say, from never experiencing cannabis to all of a sudden you've been catapulted into seeing the ins and outs and seeing some things that take people decades to get into. That's wild. And speaking of decades into cannabis, gotta say hello and give a shout out to Lemon Hoko. Thank you for stopping in. Hopefully you get some good questions in before you got to take off. How are you doing,
buddy?
Oh, you're muted, Lem.
Oh, there you go.
There we are.
Hey, Duke, how you doing? Good to see you,
brother. How you doing, man?
Oh man, hanging in here. I was sitting here thinking about some questions for you, man. And I know you probably answered these before, but the thing that gets the big question in my mind is, how did you get into breeding? What got you first started into it, and what was your first projects? How did you learn?
Well, that was what, like I was just talking about, was making more seed like that. As far as like my own my own solo venture, I was doing more of the same, but you know, way later. I think that would have been 90, maybe it was 98 or 99, and it was, I was trying to do more of the same, like make more seed to have for outdoors, and then you know, making a hybrid. So just kind of seeing what happens, because like I think everybody has that same idea before they really get into it and start learning like what's actually going on. And they think of it the blender. You know, you take a strawberry, put it with the banana, throw it in the blender, strawberry, banana, and it, you know, it doesn't work like that, of course. But you know, and actually like getting to see like what the actual outcome is. After that, Rob Clark's Marijuana Botany, you know, thing reads like a textbook, but it's a good book. So got to reading that, plus my first experiences online. And there were like all these like genius people that, you know, had already been breeding and everything, been learning for years. So between, you know, the book, which was, you know, that was real nice, and just having access to talk to people that were real, not masters, but experts in the field, and were very good at what they did, and actually being able to talk to these people. Yeah, it was. I was just a big sponge back then, you know.
Just want to say real quick, hello to everybody in chat. I see you guys, man. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Hey, did you ever get into breeding other things other like dogs or birds or anything else, or was your prime focus 100% on cannabis?
Mine was on cannabis. I had friends that were into tomatoes, of all things. Like where I'm from is like real big in tomatoes. I had another friend that got into like ornamental flower breeding and shit like that too.
I swear to God, we're breeding tomatoes for the last time.
Yeah, these fucking tomatoes are stinky, man. I don't know what's going on. Real sticky too.
Was it same in your state with grow stores where you really can talk about cannabis? You had to like say, I'm growing tomatoes. I mean, that's how it was over here.
Yeah, like if you go to a smoke shop, it's a water pipe or tobacco pipe or whatever, and yeah, grocery store was definitely tomatoes and everything. The one grow shop that we did have turned out I was a DEA informant, and it was a big setup spot. So yeah.
And they wonder why we're so paranoid.
Yeah, man. Yeah, fucking yeah, and it was weird because like, you know, when we would talk about it, people would say that, like, no, and then before you know it, you got a federal indictment in front of you, and DEA SWAT's done got your ass, and you're looking at the paperwork, and you're like, oh, motherfucker, you got me, you piece of shit.
When you went through that process, it's probably not an easy thing to talk to you, but did you have access to numbers and phones and stuff right away, or did they give you that one call? I know how they treated me, but it was, everybody gets treated differently.
Yeah, I really had to fucking really, really, really fight just to get that call out. But you know, eventually it did happen. It was like later the next day, because after getting hemmed up, it's not like with the DEA, at least, they didn't take you like directly to jail. They took you to this like I don't know what you want to call it. It's like a weird little holding facility, like where they do the proverbial heat lamp in your face and try to sweat you down and all that shit, and try to scare you and shake you up before you've had a chance to get to a lawyer and any of that stuff. And then once you're a real piece of shit to them there for long enough, then they'll finally take you to the county or the regional or wherever they're going to put you. And then once you're there, you know, you process in through receiving, and you know, do the old search and all that shit. And then back then, that place, they gave you the old school black and white stripes, so you look like had the Beetlejuice costume on. Yeah, and then you end up in whatever unit you're at, and like I said, try to get that phone call out, you know.
Going back real quick, the cannabis talk. When I'm curious, like, when was the first time you ever smoked any skunk strains, and what was your thoughts of it when you first hit that first skunk?
So once again, like that 1 year was a pretty big year for everything, but harvest time that year, it was Halloween. Like you have like big Halloween parties and shit, big huge bonfire and all that stuff. And you know, I'd gotten to have some of the weed that I was helping to grow out in the woods, and that was it. And the quality and everything so much better. Like they wouldn't let me hold on to more than like an eighth or a quarter of an ounce, because like my cousins, they were very protective of me, and like that was their whole reasoning, was like to show me how to do shit, how to do it right, and then, you know, keep me out of trouble. So they knew like a quarter ounce or less wouldn't really be too huge of a deal, you know. So some years later, you know.
Speaking
trust.
of your cousins, are you still like working with them? Just curious. Are you still in
No,
touch with them?
no, unfortunately, one was mistaken for another biker. He was on working on his bike on the side of the road, and the guy thought that he was somebody else and walked up, shot him in the head. Mistaken identity, and
Sorry
then
to
they,
hear.
yeah. Then the other one, he ended up on the run. He made it on America's Most Wanted. Um, but like I don't know where he's at, you know. So I'd like to think that he's somewhere down in Costa Rica or somewhere in South America, chilling, doing good. But he was working and everything. He was getting ready to have a kid. And he was slipping off in the evening after work, and he was like a hell of a carpenter and woodworker, and he was gonna make a baby crib like from scratch, you know. So he would come by and use our shop and everything, and work on it a little bit each day. Then he'd go home. Well, his old lady thought that he was cheating on her, which he wasn't. He was just trying to make a cool surprise, and she ended up calling the cops on him and told him all about the buried fucking Connex out back, and it's full of guns and money and a lot of weed. So yeah.
Heartaches, man, heartaches.
Oh, right. How many went down for that?
Nobody. Like they didn't get him. Like he was on it, and cops being pissed off like they were, they tried to make him out like way worse than he was. Like on the episode, you know how they make the dramatizations or whatever. They showed him like walking up in a bar and taking this dude's beer, like from chugging it down, and then busting him over the head with the bottle. And like my cousin, he didn't drink. Like he never drank. Like his dad was a bad alcoholic. He hated alcohol. But they got him like he went into a bar drinking some dude's beer and busting him in the head. It's pretty funny.
Real quick, probably my last question for a little bit. I feel like I'm hogging you here, Duke. I know that you got some restrictions on what you have to go through, like since you just got out. How does that affect what you want to do with breeding and stuff? Are you kind of restricted on wrens and plants or anything like that? When do you plan on being totally released from control of the state and being able to operate how you want to be?
I'll be good to go like technically by December. And between now and December, I would just operate how I would have operated back in the day. Yeah, cloak and dagger, bud.
You want to tell people out real quick, the people that are listening and the future people that are going to hear this cast, how they can grab your gear right now? I mean, I know it's really hard to get. I've been talking and looking around, and it's kind of rare to find your stuff that's dropped. But where's some live drops that we can look at right now and grab your gear?
Seedsherenow.com. You go on seedsherenow.com. They got the Dominion Seed Company section. That's where the stuff is now. I had some rare stuff that went. It was the Duke Diamond Vault, but that had been going on a while, and I'm pretty sure that's all empty now. Seed Zero Now, they also do an auction each week. So like they had some older rare stuff that sometimes you can score that. But as far as what's left, yeah, it's just on Seeds Here Now. And
again, Tardis just grabbed some gear of yours from Seeds Here Now. Tardis, you got yours on? Can you let us know what you grabbed from Duke? Maybe you can talk about that gear a little bit.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about it last night in the Discord. I was helping them pick out too.
That's right.
The hoodoo and the let's see here. Yeah, the hoodoo and the
Dominion Skunk
Man, I believe, right?
Dominion Skunk V2.
No, Skunk Man V2.
Yeah, thank you so much for helping me with that. But I also have these, and that's the from the Duke Diamond Vault. That's the C99 times Vortex.
Yeah.
I grew it out last, got a male, a beautiful male. Used that to pollinate my other plants, and now I'm growing it again to try to get a female. So thank you, Duke.
Awesome. Oh man, yeah, my
You do
pleasure,
great
brother.
gear.
Thank you, sir.
Speaking of males, you know, I got to hit you with this question on Tara Lee Live Show. How do you select your males? What's your process?
Looking like being very familiar with the sisters of that male at minimum. Preferably also being familiar with the females from the prior generation and maybe even the generation prior to that. Definitely helps you pick some things out. So I'm looking for a lot of the traits that I see in the desirable female in the male. I'm also eliminating them with a few other things. I don't like to see auto flowering in them. Definitely don't like that. I like to see them be, nice and strong, and preferably, be able to take like a little bit of like drought resistance and things like that too. um, Flowering the males out and actually looking at their floral patterns, like seeing if they're stacking more of a cola or if they're kind of loose and stringy. I don't like those, I like ones that actually stack up like a cola of male flowers. Then especially when something's more terpene dependent, I like to reverse the males and get an idea on like what they're smelling like. I'm also looking at like how fast they go to like a bud set, like when I actually see them like setting up flowers from the day of flip, and kind of comparing that to the females, when they're setting bud and everything. Getting a kind of getting a roundabout idea, like what type of flower time, and like I'm not going all over the place, so it's not like I'm working with these like 9-ish 10-weeker, and you're gonna get some male that puts 15-week 16-week flower time, so not really worried too much about that. But I like to get a general idea. I measure like nodal spacing and like the ratio of that, how it goes on and everything. So yeah, that's more or less in a nutshell. A few other things, but that's it. Clip notes.
Nice.
So I have some sad news, but good news for Duke. Everything's sold out. But for all you out there, you can't get anything on Seeds Here Now. I just looked at the whole thing, and yeah, it's gone. So
Oh
yeah.
shit.
Waiting for the next round. Next action.
So I had the experience of getting to smoke C99, dab C99. I am a dabber. I only dab. I don't smoke flower. So it's very hard for me to get to try so many cultivars out there, because so many people just bring flower, right? So it's actually, I got to dab some C99 thanks to an amazing friend of mine that grew it organically, and his rosin was amazing. It was so good. So someday I hope to grow my own.
Yeah, all you gotta do, you get the little grow set up, and then get you a rosin press, and you can.
Oh no, I got all that. I got a rosin press. I have a freeze dryer. I just got to grow the plant.
I want to jump in really quick. And say that on Seeds Here Now under Dominion Seed Company, there are seeds available for Duke Diamond. You can get them there.
Really? Okay,
they're
because
on
I looked
sale.
under Duke Diamond and there's like none. It's there's zero.
There's two accounts for Duke
Oh,
Diamond. There's
two.
Duke Diamond
Okay,
Vault,
I'm
and there's
sorry.
Dominion
Okay,
Seed
thanks,
Company.
TARDIS. Thank you, TARDIS.
Awesome.
Thank
And
you.
there's a few great seeds there to get. The Hoodoo and the Skunk Band V2 I ordered are still there. I'd highly recommend them. They're on sale right now.
Better get there quick.
Well, good thing you corrected me.
quick.
Thank you, TARDIS.
Yeah, that's
Here
awesome,
I'm spreading
TARDIS.
wrong information. Shit, what do I know?
This is why we like having a
you're
crew.
right. That's what I was talking about. I was saying that vault selection. Yeah, it's probably all sold out. Yeah, you confirmed it there.
There we go. And hey, and Lem, go ahead, Lem.
Yeah, and there's a reason why his gear always sells out, guys. It's dependable. You get what it says on the package, and you're gonna get stoned off of it. I mean, you're gonna have a good time growing this shit. I haven't grown any out yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Really, I am.
I keep hearing you talk about it on the back end.
I can change that up for you. I'll tell you what, Lumen, when you're ready to do some bean sprout, man, just hit me up with your info there, and I'll get it over to you.
Awesome.
Brother, I just got goosebumps, man. I feel blessed. I really do. Thank you.
And speaking of Bless, we're going to have Bless Coast come in here and get some more technical questions coming. I do have one prior to jumping into that, just to start, because it kind of correlates with doing the hunting through the males for looking for essentially the best structure, best donor you can get. How about in general, male or female, what would be the best plant that you've grown so far? What one stands out to you over all the years that you've been growing? What was the plant that you love most, and what were the seeds from?
Oh man,
I know it's a tough one.
Yeah, and like for me, it's it's impossible. Like there's been so many over the years.
What's jumping to your mind right now? It doesn't have to be the best. We don't want to throw anything else under the bus, but what's jumping to your mind right away when you're thinking just bomb structure? Like this plant could be something you have, something you lost. Anything jumping to your mind?
Man, way too much, like stuff of mine, stuff of other people's I've grown. Just I could go on and on and on and on. Out of my stuff, like one thing, because it like helps me so much and it's helped a lot of people out too. The anxiety and everything like that. Screaming Eagle was a really good one. The Polecat, the Mini G, Hoodoo, all those Skunk Man, like it just hit those marks for me. Other people's stuff back in the day, like Williams Wonder, the old Blue Moonshine, the White Rhino, Bog Sour Bubble, his Boggle Gum. Man, just way too many, and then all.
There's a reason all of our heads are bouncing up and down off like we're a bobblehead here. Yeah. Oh, that one. Yeah, that was a great one too.
Yeah, man. Yeah. There was a lot of great work out there. It was just you didn't have to sift through a lot of other stuff that wasn't back then. Now there's so much out there. But you got a lot of like fly by night type seed making that's going on. So it kind of muddles things up, So I guess I would just say to people like, stick with your reputable people. Not to say like someone new isn't going to do a good job, but you have to be wary nowadays because there's a lot of guys out there that are just kind of ruining it, and they ruin it for the new guy, that's trying to get out there and do their thing.
Awesome. Thank you. I know that's always a tough one. So I love the names you threw down and just the sentiment you brought with it after, because that's a great point. How about Bless?
Man. Like, yeah, like say, like Swamp Boys, awesome shit. Crickets and Cicadas, Bob Hemphill, great stuff. AK Bean Brains, he's got a lot of great stuff. Freeborn Selections, which is Mean Gene of Mendocino, great stuff.
I gotta hang out with Bob at the Regen conference and see all his flower, and we talked about cactuses, and God, we had a great time. I really like Bob Hemp. He's I really like
he's
him.
A good dude. He's from Virginia too.
Is he really? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yep, sure is.
Hey, I know there's a lot of people in the industry, top breeders, that are going into this field. Are you thinking about, or have you? I haven't heard if you're working with any feminization projects or S1s.
I did a little bit of fem work back in the day. Not a huge amount of releases on it, but a little something. All my space and my projects were getting taken up by, I was working on regs and everything, so it just wouldn't allow for it. Just didn't have a whole lot of time and space because I was trying to wrap up some pretty long duration projects. So, but I will be I'll be doing that a little bit more here in the future. I think like the biggest one that I put out that made it out was the 187. And that was the 88 G13 with the Cindy 99 reverse for the pollen donor, and that shit was awesome.
I feel like I'm hogging you with all these questions. Yeah, feel free to jump in. Us too, Doug. Are you doing any collabs or projects with any other breeders in the near future? Just curious.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I never mentioned too much about it, until after it's done and like ready, because there's always a lot of copycatting going on, shit like that. So I always kind of wait for it, and then I'll drop the curtain on them.
Hey man, remember when we were talking about how you were saying how you like to take things to the back cross 3 generation and not take them, too farther than that because of inbreeding depression and whatnot? I
Yeah,
was reading this. I was reading this study last night. They were like describing a new. They were saying a new way to achieve like really good F1 hybrids, like real F1 hybrids, And they were saying basically along the same lines, like doing either like full sib or half sib breeding, or basically
yeah,
selfing something, doing like 3 generations of selfing and getting 2 different lines basically that have been selfed, 3 or 4 times, whatever it is, or full sib bred, half sib bred for 3 generations, and then making an F1 hybrid out of that. And I was wondering, have you ever gone that far? Have you ever done that yet? And if you did you see any like crazy hybrid vigor out of that? Or
yeah. That was like the number one thing that I noticed is, so I did a project that was I don't know like what maybe somebody with a botany degree or something would call that, but I used to call it parallel breeding, where working like 2 lines side by side with the different parentals, and going to BX3 on 2 sides, recombining at the end. Dude, yeah, like you lock the shit down really tight, but it was, yeah, you were getting like hybrid vigor like you would in like a F1 of 2 unrelated things. And yeah, it was definitely the hot ticket. It's just a lot of work. you know
yeah,
that's the kicker.
it is a lot of work, but it seems like it's definitely something to get
Yeah.
Would that be
better
considered?
results out of.
Would that be considered an IBL inbred line, or how would you look? Would it be a back cross, or how would you define that?
It wouldn't be an IBL. IBLs are
Yeah,
20 generations.
and like I would like the same thing we were talking about in that Discord was like, what's the like a definition of an IBL, and like the percentage of variance that it's allowed to have. And I forgot what it was. It was like a percent, like 1% or some shit like that. And that would take a lot of work. Like that IBL term, it got thrown around a good bit. It was like 2006 people were starting to use that term, and there's a lot of very bright people out there, even like some weed growers that were like low key and everything, but they had degrees like in botany and genetics and shit. So they were like, yeah, you can't just throw around that IBL, because like what that actually is so but what you could call it is like, it's definitely very, very, very refined, very refined at that point.
Would you consider an IBL the closest thing to a purebred definition, in your opinion?
When I think IBL, I think of something that's like, basically, it's not like literally giving you clones from seed, but close to it. Very, 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 very little variance, and like I've never seen it. Not me personally, at least.
Yeah, you wouldn't really want to buy a real IBL from a cannabis line because cannabis is naturally a cross-pollinated plant. So if you do full sib and half sib breeding that many times, and basically you're just going to basically see inbreeding depression. All the
Yeah,
progeny will get shittier and shittier, and you'll get more recessive mutations popping up and bad recessive traits that you didn't see before. And
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of
Like the old
one of those
saying,
things.
variety is the spice of life. Kind of rings true with that. It's like, I like to see things that can be refined, especially if you're looking for one particular thing, but not not at the sacrifice where it's just inbred to death, you know, and you've lost all that vigor, and you've kind of dulled it out. I don't know if you remember back in the day, people used to dub VHS tapes and, you know, a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, and it starts to lose quality. You know, it's like kind of almost that effect. You know, it hits that wall, and you start losing things. You know, so I'd rather search a little bit more, you know, and have all that still there than be like, oh yeah, it's definitely gonna smell like this, but you know, it grows very, very slow, and there's really not much vigor to it at all. And you know, the potency's been dulled down and shit like that.
I got a little part question for you. When we're talking about refined lines and so forth, what are some of the most refined lines that you have in your lineup, and some of the projects that you want to really refine, like in the same terminology that we're talking right now?
Well, the thing with what I release out, you know, the time, the space, you know, at the end of it, it equates to money, because like doing it right, you know, renting out this, you know, expensive space, you know, not the most legit guy in the world as far as following laws. So, you know, no licenses, lots of risks, lots of numbers. By the time you're done with a project like that, if you're going super hard, you normally, you know, you're doing it for yourself. You know, you're trying to preserve something, and that's a lot of what I did for me. Um, maybe using it in the future from like one side of it or the other, but to put a price tag on something like that, it would be ridiculous. And seed game's weird. Um, you know, if you were to, you know, charge actually like what it's worth, you know, people would, you know, just shit all over the place. But you know, they'll go buy like some untested hype shit, you know, that's brand new for 800 a pack, you know. But you ask them for $100 or $150, and give them twice as many seeds, and I don't know, it's just a weird thing. So like on my end, the way that I was working these F1s is when I'm developing the male, um, it like if you're super into like lineage and the parents and everything, you can actually look at them and see like, okay, I can see why, you know, you went with these types. They all share a lineage, but they aren't the same plant or even like, you know, sisters, but they're from a same gene pool. Um, and working those things in on the male side and then back into the females within that gene pool, it allowed for a really, really nice consistency and tightness of a certain genotype, that expresses like not like every phenotype under the sun. You know what I mean? So like it was, you know, kept it tight, especially for like a F1 hybrid. You know, it still takes a lot of work and a lot of time, but for like an actual like release to a market, um, you know, that was the way that it was going down, and it was a lot more work than the average people were doing in their F1s. You know, so I, you know, it seemed to be a good way to work that stuff down without, you know, going 10 years into something, you know, and then you know, you might make your money back, but some other guy's just going to take it, and you've already done the work for him. He's going to chuck it in a tent and probably make $100,000 off your shit.
Yeah, I think that gives it trueness to name, you know what I mean? If you just breed something and it's all over the place, there's no trueness to that variety, you know what I mean? It's almost not even a variety. It's just a bunch of, you know.
Yeah, big melting pot. Just
Yeah.
fucking fruit
Mhm.
salad.
You know,
Yeah, especially
we have a handful of terpenes that us breeders are working with, and some of us are known for different terpenes and so forth. What are some of your favorite terpenes that you're going to be exposing in the next few years? I mean, what are you really driving at? What are your terpene profile on some of your strains there, Duke?
Well, I like so like I like all different types of stuff. You know, I like my fuely gas, you know, and sour stuff too. But I'm also like I do like my fruit stuff, but I like my fruit type varieties to still be very potent. That's something that a lot of people miss out on. It'd be fruity as shit, but doesn't really have much punch behind it, you know. Or it might
Yes.
have punch and it's just
Yes.
not. Yeah,
Yes.
you know what I mean.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Because you get all that fruity terp, but you always have to go back to the gases to get you there. Like that's my complaint.
Well.
Thank you. Yes.
So yeah, like that was a big one for me. So like we can take like orange stuff. You know, it's notorious for being not very potent. Um, one of the more potent ones that you know I'd ever had was it was back when they first made the Agent Orange. You know, the orange clone by itself, you know that and like Calio and shit. Like you're not gonna get a huge potency out of it, but in that hybrid, I think they used Jack the Ripper and made it made it very potent too. So so I like to work my fruit like that to where you know it's actually got the punch behind it. And same way with my purples. A lot of purples weren't the strongest things out there. But you know, it tastes great, smell great, but it didn't have that oomph behind it, you know. So like the 187, very, very, very potent. Um, just you know, it just takes selection, you know. At the end of the day, it's
That's
what it comes down.
that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think because 'cause back in the 80s when I was growing purple, it was known as a really heavy hitter, and then somewhere in the next 20 years, it seemed to lose its punch, right? Do you think that that was attributed to selection from different breeders or so forth, or what's your idea?
Yeah. Well, back then there was like a big race going on for the latest and greatest in purples. People are trying to get the flowering times down to like ridiculously short periods, and a lot of guys are starting to introduce Ruderalis into the mix, and I think that took a lot out of it, honestly.
That makes a lot of sense because a lot of those true purples, they have that bitter purple smell. They don't produce a lot of resin and they're real dry. And they
Uh,
don't have a unique high to them or a unique smell at all. And they're usually pretty leafy.
When you
yeah,
mentioned about bringing
yeah,
Ruderalis into the lineup, and not many people know this, I'm glad you brought that up, Duke, because I read about this a long time ago when I started breeding cannabis, how they would bring Rudies in to drop the flower time on some of the older strains. Is that kind of close to what you understand?
yeah. They were bringing in that the drop flower time substantially, and you know, people were using it for, you know, I guess it probably started with the flower time thing, and then they probably started and it's like, hey, you know, I'm bringing out some interesting colors too, and then taking that offshoot and then working it on a more of a colored route, you know, for that selection.
I'd be interested to see if someone took one of those true purples and outcrossed it to Urkel and seeing if it could actually make it potent. Because Urkel is a really potent plant, but it's not a true purple plant. It just makes a lot of anthocyanin late in flower, like a you know what I mean? Like a true purple would be like purple from the inside out, week one, week two. You know, it's like, oh, this is going to be a purple plant. It'd be cool to see someone cross those two. You know, I think the only one I ever seen that did it was Outlaw from the Breed Bay days. He made that what was it? It was a Gorilla Grape, and that thing
Yeah,
was
he was using
ridiculous.
the double purple dojo a lot
Yeah,
in his work,
yeah,
from Sunday Chief. Yeah,
yeah. And it was like double purple times Granddaddy, and Granddaddy's basically just Urkel and Big Bud, right? Something like that.
yeah, something like that.
Something
Yeah,
like
like
that.
there
Yeah.
was a little there's well two purple projects that I was wanting to get kicked off. Um the last one I did was that purple Dahlia, and that one was pretty exceptional. Had these great Jolly Rancher candy Finos. The smell was like that with like an incensey property, but it had that
Mm.
taste too. It was just awesome. But I mean, it's potent as can be, but had no anxiety with it. So I was really, really, really digging that one.
Did that thing have Urkel in it?
No, it was lavender.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it's funny that lavender cut. Like I grew a lavender cut long time ago, but it wasn't purple. Like there's like a couple different lavender cuts go around, but one of them, the one that I got was fucking unique, dude. That thing was it was pretty cool. It was like a short little hashy plant, but it wasn't the purple one that I think that everyone else talks about. But I know
Yeah.
there's a couple of them that ran around.
Yeah, my boy Sticky Lungs, he gave it to me. He got it from NorCal. It was like he was on one of his little trimming expeditions back in like I think it was '04, something like that. And they were growing it out there and they hooked him up with a clone and been growing it since. Yeah, it was good. It was more like a bushy type hash plant, more along the narrow leaf side of things. Kind of almost had that like Lebanese type look to it. Definitely very purple on the flower, and it had like very good smell, but the effect of it was what I loved the most.
That's interesting. That's really usually the purples don't have that effect, so that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was very very special little plant. I always liked the Urkel too. That was a good one. It was just like it veg so slow. Yeah, damn, it veg
I
so
know,
slow.
dude. I'm like
just
telling
enough
people.
to piss you off.
Yeah, I was telling them. I was like, I'm gonna kill it. I'm tired of it. I'm not gonna if I'm not gonna make it a P1, I'm gonna kill it, man. But hey, I always wanted to ask you, did you ever get to meet Vic High in person?
Mm-mm.
No.
Nah, he was a Canadian guy. Kind of stayed up there. He like worked in the forest industry and shit.
Did Rick ever get to meet him?
No.
Okay. What about Romulan Joe?
Never met him, but there was a guy that Subcool knew him. His name was Loran, and I think he passed away from cancer and stuff. But he was the guy that gave him that Romulan clone, and he knew all those old people from California back in the day.
Speaking of Mr. Subby, is he got the Genius clone from you originally? Is that how he got it?
Fuck, man, the Genius. I think I sent it to him. It was 2015, something like that.
Yeah, because he had it when I knew him, when I was hanging out at his house every day, and yeah, I was always wondering how he came across that plant. Was that one of the is that the only plant that you ever shared with him, or did you share some other clones with him?
Oh yeah, I'd given him all types of different shit. C99, Killer Queen, a G13 back in the day, Kim Dog.
What did he think about Chem? What did he think about Chem Dog? Because I gave him a Chem D cut really early, like, and he told me that it wasn't his jive. So I was like, and then I saw he put out a cross with it like years later. So I was like, how did he get it? I wonder what changed his mind.
He so like Kim Dog went, excuse me, and hung out with him for like almost a week.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was I think in 2006, and Subby liked his fruity stuff, more than anything, because like he was like the one dude that I knew on earth that did not like sour diesel.
I know.
Which I thought was like crazy. I was like, how do you
this
not
is why I love Sub's work. I agree. I am the fruit nut. Like, yes, his work.
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
And he was all about it. And he was along those same lines as like, he wanted his like fruit to also be very potent as well.
Strong.
So,
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I gave him that Killer Queen cut, but I had never I had grown a lot of the seed, but I had never really experienced like any plant or any just thing in life that could be have so much variance in the smells and what it could make, that it just blew my mind, dude, when he showed me all of his herb, like, Smoking Exodus and his Vortex and Jack the Ripper and fuck all that shit, you know, was just wild. Like all Jilly's work with the Calio and, you know,
Yeah,
Melvin.
man.
That shit was wild, dude. I found some crazy shit out of Jilly Bean, man. Crazy shit
Oh
out of
yeah.
there.
Yeah, one of my favorite clones I ever had was we had a friend name was Tobe, and she was growing out the very first bit of that jelly bean and found the candy shop cut.
Yep. I remember
And
that.
man, that
Dude,
shit was fire, dude.
I tell people about that, and it's like you can't even describe the way that plant smelled, man. That thing was
Yeah.
wild, man. I thought
Like
Jill
if
found it. I had no idea that she got it from someone else. That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, Tobe had found it and then had sent it back. But like because Tobe worked with TGA because like when it very started, you know, it was like a few different people. You know, you had Sub and Jill, of course, but you had Sonny Chiba doing stuff, and then Tobe, she was also doing some work with them too. Then there was the two Canadian cats that were doing some work too with like Hash Plant, and Krusty Big Bud, and stuff like that.
Did you ever get to meet Dioxide?
No, I was in prison when they were doing their thing. Yeah. By the time I got
Yeah.
out there, they split or whatever.
Did you ever smoke the black cherry soda clone?
Yeah, he gave me some bud of that. I think it was the one that they did together. I think it was Time Wreck or something like that.
Oh, okay. Because the clone of black cherry soda was a perfect example of like crazy smelling purple weed that doesn't get you high. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite one, the cherry one though, is that Danny Boy that he made back in the day. That's probably the best cherry weed I ever had. The
His early
potency.
work,
Yeah,
was the best. Was the best work.
yeah, man.
Fucking Monty, dude.
Yeah,
That guy's a
Money ball.
fucking nutball, man. Yeah.
A lot of
I'll never
personality.
forget that guy.
A lot of
Oh.
personality.
For sure.
Hey, in regards to cuts, so what's the cutting still circulated today that's the most similar to? Well, actually, there's two things, but most similar to the VA Beach F Danny. What would you say is most similar to that's floating around?
I made a hybrid called Granny Skunk that would give you like dead on the money Virginia Beach Canny type plants.
Nice.
Last weekend there was a competition out in Virginia, and it guy entered Granny Skunk, got second place, and he was like, "Yeah, I could have did it
Congrats,
better
dude.
last minute." And this, yeah.
That's even better. That's even more of a hat tilt. It's like, yeah, I just barely pulled it together, made it work. Still got fucking second, crushed it.
Yeah.
Cool. That's great to know. Thank you. And then additionally, what about the Mass Super Skunk? What would be closest to that?
Mass Super Skunk. I don't know. Like JJ's been doing some work with it. And I wanted to say, I think it's a back cross project. So I'd probably look at Top Dog seeds right now, and that's JJ. And I want to say it's like a back cross or something on it. So that'd probably give you some of the good Mass Super Skunk type plant.
How close are the terpenes between the Mass Super Skunk and the Sour D? You know, like how close are those two plants? Are they pretty different or?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I would say like when I was growing the Mass Super Skunk, I was getting a lot of like the acrid coffee bean type smells out of it, you know.
That sounds amazing. I feel like that coffee skunk smell is not prevalent, bro. That shit is hard as fuck to find, dude.
Yeah, you don't see it a whole hell of a lot, you know. But yeah, you know, that'd be more how I'd describe it. It yielded very good. So like when I see sour diesel, what I see in in that plant from the mass skunk is the structure of it, primarily like with the
Right.
flowers. Yeah,
That's what always caught my eye about it, because I've never actually got to grow the real
Yeah.
MSS. So
yeah. And then
It
like
looked
I
like
see
they
a
got
lot of the skunk one side. I see a lot of that more in like that real complex flavor that it has. I can see a lot of that in that as well.
Yeah, those granny skunks sold out quick, man. I remember when you made that first drop, those things were gone, dude.
Well, it's weird because I had put them out with another drop, and they actually stood around for like, man, I want to say like almost a year, and like I almost had to like re-mention it, like, hey, I don't know if y'all like just don't know what this is or whatever, and then let it be known, and then they finally caught on and got them.
Hell yeah. I'm excited for you to drop something with the Genius. Like I was saying, that'll be cool to. Have you ever thought about doing some skunk hybrids with Genius?
Yeah, I did one already.
Did you?
Yeah, Captain Crunch Crunch Berries is what it came out like.
Interesting. It's
Yeah.
so weird how you make crosses with skunk and you get phenotypes that you would have never expected. I remember I crossed a skunk line that I was working with. I don't know if you know what Oso Green is, but like I crossed it to Jelly Bean, and I got a bunch of rotten milk, like literally smelled like rotten cereal milk. And I was like, this is so wild, dude. It's like you don't expect some of the terpenes you get from the progeny.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I did this like really death piss smelling nasty ass Hindu Kush. I did it to Kim D and came out with a lot of nasty plants too, but the best strawberry I ever had came out of it as well.
Yeah, it's just weird, isn't it?
It really
It's
is.
cool because people don't realize like how heterozygous the plants are, and a lot of the recessives are so covered up by these dominant traits that you don't see them, and then you make outcrosses, you get recombination, or maybe that recessive trait is a little bit more dominant in the outcrossing, so you get to see some more of it. It's just you get really cool stuff, but it
Yeah.
makes a difference to select your male from a line that is pretty,
Yeah.
homozygous and dominant. That's the idea, which
Yeah, and
doesn't happen.
you get some shit from like way back in the past on two lines, and they kind of sync up. And yeah, you get some really weird shit sometimes.
Have you ever worked the Arcata train wreck before?
Yeah.
What'd you think about that?
It works in some things, and then it goes horribly wrong in others.
It's a wild plant, huh? That the flower
Yeah.
formation on that plant is something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and it likes to like I said, it starts pushing the nanners out pretty hard toward the end. It's all sterile, pollen, but still,
So what's the lines that you're most excited to work now? Are you gonna do some big selections here pretty soon, or you haven't made up your mind yet?
Yeah. Like I made like I was on the little Discord last night, bullshit with people, and I was making a list of all the seeds that I got and what's getting popped first, and the little project list that I have written out of what's going to what, and first steps.
Hey, I got to jump in for a disclaimer then and say thank you everyone for tuning in. We appreciate you so much. Make sure you're on live chat over top chat so you're not getting filtered out. But you heard it here first. You got to get on to Duke Diamond's Discord if you want to get this information firsthand. Jump in there. Also, we're always kicking it over with Lemon Hoko in the NW47 Discord. Hit up one of the hosts here or Lemon himself. You'll get on there and have access to wealths of information like this, but just all day long, and occasionally some Sasquatch talk. But hey, that's just for Lemon.
Just to let you guys know, we like to do server raids, and Duke's one of our favorite servers to raid with a bunch of people.
Lemon, let everybody know how to reach you, because they have to DM you to get right.
Yes,
to get
yes. If you're on If you're on Instagram, DM me and I'll give you all the access to get on the server. It's a private server. It's not open to the public. It's invite only. But once you get on, you'll have access. I mean, Duke is a little bit more private, public than I am on my server. But like I said, if you guys like to do the chats and stuff, we do raids on each other's servers, and we'll jump in the chat with about 20 people just to get them, just to wake them up and say, hey, Duke, knock, knock, we're here.
Yeah, it's a super cool thing because you got a nice, you know, you got all the different chats, you know, that you can, you know, talk to people and see pictures, put pictures up, specific. But like they also like they have a cool voice chat, so I can get on there and just shoot the shit, kind of like we're doing right now. And you know that we can do that any old time. But like Friday night, Saturday nights, I normally try to get in there and bullshit with everybody. So, but I'm not even sure like how. I guess like you can search for the different ones, but ours is Dominion Seed Company for the Discord.
So is yours public then? People can search for yours and join it automatically then, time? Okay.
Yeah. I just had it wide open for
Okay.
you know, people to come in and you know, kind of do the community thing. Because like on Instagram, like it's cool and all, but you know, you're not really doing much much of a community thing. You know what I mean?
Speaking of Instagram, I did share the link in Instagram for Instagram and chat. I did just now and I did earlier. So please follow along. Please follow along on the backup pages too, if you guys can, on these people, because like the people are getting taken down again on Instagram. So please help get the word out and follow these guys. They need your support. And Discord is great. Yeah, Discord's great. If any of you don't know Discord, it works on your computer. It works on your phone. It's awesome. You can build your own channel if you like. So many people have so many channels. There's so many different hobbies and things on there. It's amazing. Lemon Hoko literally has something going 24/7 in there. Basically, you can literally get on there if you've got insomnia and jump in. And if you feel lonely, smoke with somebody. It's really freaking cool around the world. There are people around the world on this thing. So I think it's a great thing to meet up. I think it's awesome that everybody's starting these things. So if you don't already have the app, you better download it because you're missing out. So there you go. There's my commercial. I don't even freaking like I get anything on Discord or whatever, but go ahead.
You can even play Mortal Kombat with your friends from Vietnam.
I love it. I love it. Are you a gamer? Are you a gamer then, Duke?
No.
Don't have time, right?
Yeah, there's just no time for it. Yeah. I wish I could, but no.
Duke, I know your gears. I know your gear is like really coveted out there, and I'm just curious if you've seen anything like this before with your gear. I noticed that Exotic Mike had an auction on a Starfighter the other day, and it sold for over $6,000. Is your gear going like that too? It's got to be.
Yeah, there was a few packs. A very, very, very well-known breeder was talking about some weed that I gave him once out of a certain pack, and after that point, like everybody started hunting it down, and it had been long gone. But a couple packs went up for auction, and it went for some absurd amount of money.
High five on that one.
Well, I didn't get to see any of it, but somebody did.
That's always that way, man.
And another reason why sometimes it never hurts, and I say sometimes, but I mean all the time, always check out if there is a way to directly contact the breeders. If they got a site, if they got a Discord, if they got something to do, chances are you're going to have better access to a larger, plethora of options, and it's direct. So you never know. Generally, firsthand, when you deal with someone like that, it seems to work out in your favor. Never had it go against me. I'll say that much.
Also, right now is a good time to support somebody like Duke Diamond on Discord, because he's just getting on Discord, and you want to be one of the first ones in, because he's going to be busy, guys. He's going to, in a couple of years, when he gets free to do what he wants to do, he might not be able to jump on Discord every Friday. So right now is the time to jump on there and chat him up and learn what he's doing.
Yeah, it's always good. Well, they say strike while the iron's hot, But
Okay, so
yeah.
I'm gonna share. Is it all right to share the Discord and chat then right now?
Yeah, for sure.
For your Discord.
Awesome,
Okay.
Tara.
There you go. Here's your Discord, Duke Diamond's Discord link, guys, in chat right there. So copy and paste it. If you don't have time, copy it now and you can go to it later. So go ahead.
Yeah, that's a cool spot. A lot of cool people in there. I even have like a lot of friends. Like they have another name that they go by in there, but they're very, very, very well known, very popular people. But they gave themselves weird names to hang out in the server with, so people aren't like bugging them on some crazy shit. So, but you got a lot of very, very knowledgeable people in there that'll they'll help you out. And if you got a question on grow problem or this or that or whatever, they're lingering around.
Exactly. And there's generally no bad questions, there's no stupid questions, but do your best as a viewer, as someone that's interested in somebody and what's out there, before just finding out where they reside and then braiding them with a bunch of basic questions. Sometimes you're lucky like this. We've coaxed them out of the shadows. We've got someone to come on and speak and give us some information and tell us about their trials and tribulations. And you can come on and you can watch and you can kind of get a good understanding first and get a lot of those answers. So then when you're actually there, you're able to compose a lot more intricate of a question and something that's maybe not heard 50 times a day by this person, and they kind of just have to give you the answer and repeat. So it's always great to have a little bit of hindsight as well, or not hindsight, that's the wrong thing, but a little bit of foresight, I guess. Get into there, get some good information first. I mean, I know there's plenty of places where a lot of these breeders are focused, and I guess there's a good thing. Where else can someone find you aside from checking out a recent breeder cast that Lemon Hoko had over there? That's going to be on a few different platforms. You can check that out with Duke Diamond. But where else could someone find some information about yourself, Duke? What other podcasts or shows?
I've done there's some Adam Dunn shows. There's Dude Grows. I just did one of those on Thursday. I'd done a couple in the past. The podcast, the Australian Heavy Days. Let's see. I'd had a little article in the Northeast Leaf this month. Yeah, I mean that's basically it. Or catch me in the the Discord. Always in there bullshitting around on the weekends. Any shows, you can always come. I normally always have somebody else handling, doing the people that are buying seeds, and I normally always like kick it to the side. So if you come through and you're doing your thing, you can come bullshit with me in person. That way you're not like stuck in a line of people.
Hey, we always refer to everything like a mycelium web, and I'd say you've really thrown that out. There's quite the web to get tangled in, the rabbit hole to go down. There's a whole network of resources to get information, hear stories, hear it from different perspectives, have different hosts asking similar questions in different ways, and really get a good understanding first, and also find out those little ins as to where you might find out there's a Discord that you can go and hang out personally, or find out there's certain shows where the gear is going to be. So do your best, spend the time and watch the shows.
Yeah. And I did one Lemon Hoko. I think that was like 2 weeks ago. Doc Calix Cannabis Education, the Growcast. Like I've done quite a few over the last couple months.
And you know what, Duke? It's never we never get tired of listening to your stories, because you've got so many to share with us, and it's really cool to see a different aspect of from a breeder that's been through a lot of shit in the last couple of years. It's good to see that aspect, because there's some of us that are still growing in red states, and we got to watch our ass. We can relate, and some of us are lucky where we don't have to deal with that shit anymore. But yeah, it's really cool to hear your perspective, especially coming fresh out of what you just experienced.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that too, because a lot of times, like, when people hit me up like, hey, I'm looking at building my grow out, a certain way, and I'm trying to help them do a few designs, I always ask them. Like I used to, I didn't ask. I would just start, naming off like all these things, and they're like, oh no, I'm in Oregon or wherever, and they're like, I don't have to worry about that. So I don't need like a false window frame with a timer and a light to make it look like the light comes on at random times throughout the evenings and shit like that, But, for other people that were in like, bad areas, they took that, was like, wow, that's super cool. You build a frame around your window and you have a little light bulb, mounted a little strip light that'll come on randomly with the timer to make it look like somebody's coming in and out of the room. So it just doesn't look like a blacked out room all the time. Little things like that, and smell protection, and taking all those extra steps to make sure you don't end up in the
Hold on, dude. When you said that box around the window, man, I don't know too many people that did that shit. I thought I was the only one that did that shit over here, man.
Oh, no. No, I had a whole house that was like synced up. It looked like, at different times during like the late evening and up till, midnight or 1 a.m. Random lights would come on in the house for a few minutes. It looked like somebody was in a downstairs room for about 5 minutes and going upstairs, that one's down for an hour, and different random shits that looked like the house was being lived in. And no one was actually living in it other than a bunch of plants.
That's great. That's great. I really enjoyed this chat today. Everybody out there in this, I mean, like, it's really cool hanging out with Duke Diamond, one of the legends of cannabis, which is really cool. And, Lemon Hoko, and like, it's really, I'm like so new to all this. So like, even to be like so new it, but yet I'm right in the heart of it, because I'm so lucky to be hanging with some of these really awesome people. And, this is what virtual, hanging out on this and doing Discord has brought us, people like us, together. And I thank you all for this opportunity today. Thank you for all being here. All of you in chat, you all matter to me. Thanks for all being here to support this. This is really amazing to be here. Did you guys have any last minute questions out there, Drake? I didn't want to cut you off or anything else. And I also really want to respect Dick's time with us today. Go ahead.
That's exactly where I'm at. This has been great so far. It's been going on even a little longer than we normally do, because it's been such an awesome show. We had Two Dog on here. He had the pop. He's probably hashing away up a storm. If you don't know Two Dog Seeds, you got to check him out. We'll share his link too for you, so you can get on there. He had his file.
Yes, because he had his Instagram taken down.
Yeah, for no reason. He followed. He minds his P's and Q's, dots his I's, crosses his T's, and they still found him. So we gotta do our best to build that community. But we got Tardis here chilling. Tardis is an awesome guy. You'll see him over at Lemon's Discord all the time, holding it down. The knowledge he has on these different cultivars is damn near unsurpassed. Blessed Coast, Lemon, my God, if you don't know about him already, you gotta know. But yeah, you'll find all of us over at these different Discords or in the future lives to come. We're blessed to have you now. They're blessed. And the rest of you, and we'll be blessed to have you back in the future.
Take it easy,
real
guys.
Quick, Duke, I almost didn't make this meeting because I know the time difference was happening and stuff. But when I heard that you were going to be here, I busted my ass to get back over here to be able to sit here and chat. And I love every time we do get a chance to chat. You're a legend, and I feel blessed to even share some waves with you, bro. Can't wait till we meet.
You crazy, man. Just a normal old fucking dude. Like, I was up crazy late last night on the Discord, and it was like 3 a.m. my time, and we were in there just bullshitting. I was like, oh yeah, fucking got to make sure that I'm up and at 'em for this. And I totally spaced it because like they normally do their thing at 9 a.m. And I was like, oh man, that's gonna be a mess if I'm trying to do that at 9 a.m. I was like, I need to push it back to about lunchtime. So yeah, just everybody was I don't know, we were all kicking in here while I'm drinking coffee and getting my brain going, because you know how it is, like on a farmer's indoor farmer schedule is always it's a little different from the rest of the world.
Yeah, you indoor growers, I don't know how y'all do it. I'm definitely an outdoor grower for me. So, but yeah, thank you really so much for being here. I really, really, really appreciate it. You guys are all awesome. Blessed to be here. Lemon Hoko is the one that actually hooked this all up, because Lemon Hoko does a breeder's cast every Sunday, normally every Sunday at 2:00. And sometimes he takes a little break every now and then. We let him have a time off, but
Hey, we know how it is with guests, right? Until
Yeah.
we see that white in their eyes, as you always say. It's just, you never know.
But he does have it backed up. If you ever want to catch his back guests, you can always go back and catch those over there at Lemon Hoko's Discord again. And then also don't forget to join Duke Diamonds as well. And I'm going to let all you guys go on the live out there on YouTube, but you guys stay right here for just a minute on the panel. Thanks everybody for joining us again today. We'll be back again next Saturday. As always, peace and love. See you on the next one. Bye.
Much love. Like, share,